All right, this is from Salon. Tom Cotton's cease and desist letter to an activist raises serious First Amendment questions. Tom Cotton's office says they warned an activist to stop contacting them after she used vulgar language. In October, Stacey Lane, a human resources professional of 19 years, got in the mail a cease and desist letter from Senator Tom Cotton, a Republican from Arkansas. The letter, in an envelope addressed to Lane, said that all communications must cease and desist immediately with all offices of U.S. Senator Tom Cotton. Healthcare was a really big issue before I got the letter. I did what I could to call senators and Congress and raise concerns. The letter, now getting attention in the national media, is raising concerns about whether or not it's possible to bar a person from petitioning their government's representatives. Lane says she'd call the office once or twice a week, usually during times that preceded a major vote or legislative action. There would be several weeks where she wouldn't call. My calls were purposeful. According to Tom Cotton's office, Lane, a member of Ozark Indivisible, an activist group part of the resistance movement against the Trump administration, used vulgar language on multiple occasions. The final incident which prompted officials in Cotton's office to administer a cease and desist letter was when Lane allegedly called a 19-year-old intern a cunt. They have it bleeped out here. They have C-T. Obviously that, yeah, we all know what that is. According to Cotton's office, the letter was issued based on the guidance of the U.S. Capitol Police, who has not returned Salon's request for immediate comment. When the cease and desist letter started to make noise on Twitter, John Noonan, senior counsel for military and defense affairs in Cotton's office, tweeted about the event to set the record straight. Lane told Salon she didn't recall calling the intern a cunt. It's a word she's maybe used 2 times in my life. And guys, I'm using the word because it's in the article. I feel like we're all adults here and I can say the word. So I hope that if any of you take offense to it, I feel like in the purpose of reporting the news, we're all adults. We've all heard the word before, and it's okay for me to say it. Jesse sends an emoji. Cotton's office issued a statement about the matter. Now Lane's saying she doesn't recall. Have I used colorful language? Yes, but it's nothing more than I see our president using, Lane told Salon. Cotton's office issued a statement about the matter. If an employee of Senator Cotton receives repeated communications that are harassing and vulgar, or any communication that contains a threat, our policy is to notify the U.S. Capitol's Police Threat Assessment Section, and in accordance with their guidance, send a cease and desist letter. The letter is inappropriate, and I would say it's borderline constitutional, Snyder told Salon. This kind of speech, as offensive as it may be and vulgar it is, it's just part of the game. It's what happens in a democracy. Snyder added that protests by nature are not polite. Of course, the First Amendment doesn't protect threatening language where a person's safety is at risk. So, yeah, that's kind of where I stand on this. Now, when you're calling an official's office, chances are it is an unpaid intern that's answering the phone. Try to keep that in mind. You know, I mean, I try to be, and I've called officials' offices before. I try to be diplomatic and polite because I know that the person answering the phone is not them. But I will give my message. I've left voicemails before where I've said things like shame on you to different officials for different reasons. Just using vulgar language, you should not get a cease and desist letter from your representative. I'm sorry. People's emotions are at a high. And when you're going to keep millions of people away from healthcare to please your donors, when you're going to not support living wages to please your donors, when you're going to be okay with poisoning people's well water to please your donors, I think a little vulgar language should be expected. And I think in many ways is warranted. If somebody in Flint, Michigan calls their representative and uses some angry, vulgar language, they should not get a cease and desist letter. Their frustration should be heard, and they have every reason to be frustrated. Now, that being said, if you cross a line and you threaten somebody and you do it in a manner that's not protected by the First Amendment, that's different. You know, if you violate First Amendment protections through a call to violence, or a call to harming a person or making those types of threats, that's different. But just using the language itself, I'm sorry. you're an elected official. That comes along with the territory. And if you can't handle that, then you shouldn't be an elected official. Now, that being said, do we as citizens have an obligation to? Sure, we do. We should definitely try to keep in mind that, the unpaid intern answering the phone does not deserve to be called an expletive. They don't deserve to be called a cunt. They don't deserve to be called anything. And whether or not that happened here is unclear. The person saying, I don't recall doing that, so it's just a he said, she said thing. But, you shouldn't do that to an unpaid intern. They're just, calm down, snowflake, am I right? Yeah, Marcus, I'm with you. I think that, if you're an elected representative, you should be able to handle a little bit of harsh language, because chances are you're doing things that's really ticking people off, especially if you're if you're a Republican supporting what this administration is doing, or if you're a Democrat that's not supporting what you should be, So I think this is more of an effort to just stifle people. And just like how, politicians aren't holding town halls, politicians aren't, they're saying, oh, you're being rude. And that's absolutely ridiculous. It's your job to report to the people. All right, so even if she did, let's say she did call the intern a cunt, I would say, hey, that's wrong. You shouldn't do that. That's an unpaid intern. That's not the official. That's not a person with power. You shouldn't do that. I would recommend not doing it again and trying to conduct yourself differently on the phone. But I think this person, even so, did not deserve a cease and desist letter. They did not deserve a cease and desist letter. I think they were in the wrong, but I don't think it warranted that they no longer have the right to contact their elected representatives. I think that's a ridiculous response. Hey guys, thanks for watching. That was a clip from Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. What does that mean? That means I log on to a stream and people tweet me articles over on Twitter at Ron Placone, or they use our Reddit subsection, which is just Get Your News On with Ron over on Reddit. And that's how we build the show. I'm seeing all these articles for the first time. We are literally getting our news on together. Follow me on Twitter at Ron Placone so you can participate. And this show streams live every Tuesday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, so please do tune in. If you want to support this show, you can do so over on patreon.com/Ron Placone, where for as low as $1 a month, you get access to exclusive podcasts every week, exclusive videos, free tickets to shows when I'm performing in your town, and more for as low as $1 a month. Please do consider it. Thank you so much for your support. This has been Get Your News On with Ron.